Hey guys, Paul here from FamilyWheels.ca, and thanks for tuning in for another car review for Canadian families. Today we're looking at the brand new, completely redesigned GMC Canyon. It's an exciting car for the corporation because both GMC and Chevy took a little bit of a hiatus on their mid-size pickup brand, and all of a sudden, guess what? Toyota started making hay, and the Tacoma kind of took off as the leader in the class. This is GMC's attempt at getting a little bit of that piece of the pie back in their favor. It needs to find this interesting balance between being an adventurous truck from time to time, a work truck, and also the kind of vehicle that's not going to scare people off as a day-to-day driver in an urban environment. You have to be able to park it easily, do all the kind of stuff that you do every day in a standard car. So today on the program, we're going to look at the Canyon, put it through some of our standardized tests, see if it can live up to that Tacoma that really has cornered the market. All right, let's get serious here. Leave the rough, rugged riverbanks and actually take this Canyon to where we're going to be driving it, most of us, most of the time, into the urban environment. We have been GM owners in our family a couple of times now because we had a larger truck camper before Roger showed up. We had a 3/4 ton 2003 GMC Sierra, and then we upgraded that to a 2010 1-ton Sierra a couple of years later. That 2003, there wasn't really much to it. The seats were super spongy. It wasn't particularly comfortable. The features weren't fantastic. The 2010, things were really coming along nicely, and now here I am in this Canyon, and it has the fit and finish that I would expect in a high-end sedan. It's fantastic. And one of the things you'll also notice when you get up to a proper cruising speed is how quiet the cabin is in this. GM has really made a big effort to make this feel as little like a pickup truck as possible. Now, a big reason why we wound up getting rid of our pickup truck was because Devin, my wife, hated driving it. She thought it was too big, too cumbersome, hated parking it, and it just sat in our driveway most of the time as a result. But that's the nice thing about a size like the Canyon, is that it is much easier to park. It comes standard now with a rear backup camera, which is really helpful for getting it into tight parking spots, and it just is far more approachable as a day-to-day vehicle. Now, you can get into a Canyon for $27,500, but you're getting a pretty basic truck. It'll be 2-wheel drive, it'll have a manual 6-speed transmission, and it'll only be an extended cab. The extended cab looks kind of cool, but for families, especially if you have kids who are still in child seats, it's a really, really tight squeeze. However, here we are today in a mid-range Canyon that runs about $36,000, and it's very well appointed with a pretty big crew cab, really. It has a fairly large back seat in it. You get an automatic transmission, leather wrapped steering wheel, soft touch surfaces, full touchscreen infotainment system that's very intuitive and user friendly. I'm loving this system that GM has on board. So it's really quite a premium vehicle for not bad in terms of price. Okay, so there are a few things in terms of interior comfort on the Canyon that I'm not crazy about. I really like a firm seat, and the cloth seats on this tester today are very comfortable. They would wick away moisture quite well, and it looks to me as though they wouldn't hold the dog hair that we have issue with cloth seats in our family too badly. However, when it comes to firm seats, the headrests on this Canyon are next level. They feel to me more like you have your head on a 2x4 or a brick than a headrest, and I think that could probably get a little old pretty quickly. Another thing that people have pointed out, who are perhaps used to higher end vehicles, is that the Canyon doesn't come with a built-in garage door opener. It's a little thing, but it's something that people have been pointing out. You've got a couple of options on engines here with the 2015 Canyon. First up, a 4-cylinder that really isn't much to talk about. Apparently it's quite underpowered, and the best thing to do, in fact, with that model is to go for the 6-speed manual transmission so that you can drive the engine a little bit more yourself. Today we've got the V6, which is coupled up with a 6-speed automatic transmission, although the fuel economy numbers on this are really not that great. Depending on whether you get the 4-cylinder or the V6, the numbers don't change that much. About 9 liters per 100 kilometers on the highway, about 13 and a half liters per 100 kilometers on the around the city. And one of my Twitter followers was quick to point out that when you compare that to the Ford EcoBoost engine in the F-150, the numbers are actually better on that truck, even though it's larger with greater towing capacity, greater interior space. However, for 2016, and this is big news for the Canyon, a diesel engine is coming out, a 2.8 liter diesel. So that is definitely something that is kind of separating it from the pack, and certainly from the Tacoma. All right, so the skies opened up here. It's been pretty rainy actually, and I thought it was a good time to talk with you about some of our standardized tests. And starting with our trunk test, because of course, a pickup truck, there isn't going to be any issue with fitting stuff in the trunk of this thing. However, you're all of a sudden dealing with the elements, which can be a bit of an issue. Our groceries back there are pretty soaked. Let me show you what it looks like back here in the shorter 5-foot box option of the Canyon. This is cool. It's a segment first soft open tailgate that a lot of people are really enjoying. And you can see the standard amount of gear, obviously not an issue at all. You can get this in a larger 6-foot box as well, and in terms of adding an extra bike back there, more camping gear, whatever, even just a run to the hardware store, the 6-foot box is certainly the better option. A couple of other things that people are really liking about the Canyon in terms of accessing the rear storage and box area is this segment first step up and this grab handle right here. It means getting in and out really isn't any drama at all. Let's continue on here to some of our other standardized tests, including our rear-facing child seat test. You can see I've put Roger's child seat in place, and those gobble up a ton of room. And what's that going to do for the front passenger? We've got about 10.5 inches of legroom up front, which when I get in here at 6'2", yeah, it's a little bit tight, but not bad at all. You can see my shins are just about to kiss the glove box there, but in terms of a short road trip or just getting around town, my headroom's fine. I'd be doing just fine here, which is pretty impressive given the fact that, as I say, this is a smaller pickup truck. Now, one of the things that I really liked about our old Sierra 1-ton, that 2010 that we had, was that you could flip the rear seats up, creating a great deal of storage capacity back here. You can't do so here in the Canyon, and I wish that you could. The best thing that you can do is just flip the seats down like so, creating a bit of a cargo area, but it's nowhere near as much as you could get in our larger 1-ton pickup. You also have the option of flipping the seats up like so. So that's kind of similar to what we used to have. However, it used to be in our 1-ton that this whole area was clear of all this kind of plastic and created a really handy storage area for the dog, bikes, tools, whatever it was that you had driving around with you. I wish we'd see that here in the Canyon.
It doesn't feel like a truck.
Yeah, I know, that's the whole point.
Really?
Now, I think that 2016 is going to be a really important year for the mid-size pickup truck segment, because as I mentioned earlier, the Tacoma has been unrivaled. And that's based on a truck that really hasn't changed at all since 2005. But guess what? There's a new Tacoma coming down the pipe for 2016. We should be seeing it in showrooms in the fall of 2015. A lot of people are really excited about it. It looks fantastic, and it's getting really positive reviews out of the big auto show. Couple that with the fact that Toyota has really incredible resale value because of the fact that it has such a loyal following. And that means that the Tacoma has a couple of really strong reasons why you should consider it. However, I think there are a couple of things that stand out in the GM as well. This interior can't be beat by the current Tacoma. It can't get touched, in my opinion. It's so comfortable, so refined, and hey, it made Devin a convert, which is a big deal. I can't overstate how big of a deal that is. The other thing that the GM has going for it is the fact that it has that diesel coming out for 2016, 2.8 liter, as I mentioned earlier. The fuel economy should be great. Its towing capacity, it should have nice pep as well, and it's a first for the North American mid-size pickup truck segment to have a diesel offering. So some really exciting things happening right now in what was a pretty stagnant market for a while, and I think that 2016, by the end of that year, we'll really see and get a sense for which truck can walk away with the true crown in the mid-size pickup market.